Hi there, Rick with Smart Drive Test, talking to you today about tires on commercial vehicles, not just trucks, but this applies to buses as well. In a pre-trip inspection, we whack the tires. Now, there is some discrepancy on this point. My firm belief is that the only thing that whacking a tire is going to tell you is whether this inside dual is flat or not, because it's being held up by the tires on the outside. Some driving instructors and some other people, truck drivers and whatnot, believe that they can tell the difference of a few pounds of pressure in these tires. I'm not on board with that at all. These tires hold 100 pounds of pressure. That's what the recommended inflation pressure is. There's some belief in the industry that if they're 10% less, so 90 pounds of air, they're underinflated. Today, we're going to talk to you about tires on commercial vehicles, give you some information so that you can stay employed, for one thing, keep your job, and keep rolling up and down the road. We'll be right back with that. Hi there, Rick. Welcome back. Talking to you today about tires on big trucks. On the rear of vehicles, these four tires, the tandems, and the tires on the rear of the trailer back there can be retreads. So what they do is they take the old casing when the tread wears off, and they take it to a Cal Tire, one of the other big tire manufacturers, Michelin, Goodyear, all of those places, and they put a new tread on top of the casing. So this is important for drivers to know, because if you're driving around and you get a flat tire, you don't want to run around until the casing is wrecked, because that casing alone is worth about $175. So it's important to know not to wreck the casing. Now, the other thing you need to know about tires on the back of the truck, these are 22.5s. A lot of tires are 24s. Those are the two most common sizes, so obviously the 24 is bigger. And why this is important is because there's a little bit of fuel mileage benefit, because the tire doesn't roll as much on a bigger tire. Also, when you drop trailers, semi-trailers off the back of a big truck, it drops the trailer to different heights, so it's important when you're hooking up to get out and check the trailer height, because if the trailer's too high, you're going to drop the kingpin over the front of the fifth wheel. Let me tell you from personal experience, it's a bit of a pain in the butt to get out of there. And I'll make another video to explain to you, if you do drop the kingpin over the front of the fifth wheel, how to get that out of there. So tires on the back of trucks and semi-trailers are retreads. A lot of people in the industry, they're called gators. If you get a hunk of retread that comes off and flies on the road, it's called a gator because it takes a bite out of your vehicle if you run over it. It's becoming less and less common that the retreads are flying off these tires. I mean, it still happens once in a while, but the adhesive, the vulcanizing process that they use to adhere the retread to the casing is getting better and better. The chemical technology and the improvements are getting much better, so these retreads come apart on a lot less frequent basis. This is a front steer tire on a truck. Front steer tires have to be brand new. They cannot be retreads as they can on the back of the truck and on the semi-trailer. They have to be brand new. Now, you need to know, for the purposes of a road test, that tread depth on the front is 3 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch minimum to pass a road test, or to pass an MVI, that's the tread depth. On the rear of the tires, it can be 1/16 of an inch or 1.6 millimeters. The other criteria that a tire has to have pass a road test, it cannot have any cuts or gashes in the tire that are longer than 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch. And there cannot be cuts or abrasions in the tire that expose the chord inside the tire. If any of those criteria exist, the tire won't pass. It will not pass an MVI, you will not pass a road test, and if you show up with tires with those conditions for a road test, you won't be able to take the road test. Now, on the top of this tire, this is a front tire. On this truck, you begin to see that this tire is beginning, there's a dip here in the tread. This tread is worn deeper than this tread and this side. So this tire has uneven wear. You can see that it's worn more on this side of the tire than it is on this side of the tire. This front tire on this truck is not safe and needs to be replaced. Tires in the front of commercial vehicles have to be brand new. After you pass your road test, you don't really need to know the information that is required in terms of 1.6 millimeters on the rear, 3 millimeters on the front, and gashes that are not longer than 2.5 centimeters. What you do need to know is inside the tread are wear bars, and you can see the wear bars here. If the tire tread is down to the wear bars on the steer tires on the front, the tire needs to be replaced. Now, as I said, steer tires in the front of the trucks, commercial vehicles, buses, those types of things have to be new tires. A new steer tire on the front of a commercial vehicle is $600 to $1,000 depending on the type of tire. This tire is not a very expensive tire, thus it's abnormally worn in the front and will soon need to be replaced. So you either spend a little bit more and get a better quality tire and it'll last longer. Now, the reason, because a front steer tire is $600 to $1,000, the reason they put recaps on the rears and on the trailers is because a recap will cost you about $375, $400. There's considerable saving in getting recaps for the rear of semi-trucks and the trailers. They're also allowed on the rear of buses, but not on the steer axles. They have to be brand new. A little bit of information about tires on commercial vehicles. Conclusion. Tires on commercial vehicles. On the front, they're brand new tires. They have wear bars on them. You can tell that the tire is worn because it'll be down to the wear bars on the steer tires. On the rear of the truck or bus or semi-trailer, they can be recaps. A recap is about $375. A brand new steer tire is $600 to $1,000 depending on the quality of the tire. Recaps are about $375 to $450. Considerable savings on recaps. The vulcanizing process to put the tread on the old casing is getting much better, so it's unlikely that you're going to see gators on the road, pieces of retread, because they take a bite out of your vehicle. They're called gators. Hitting a tire with a hammer, in my professional opinion, only tells you if the inside of the tire is flat. The only way that you're going to be able to tell if that tire is full pressure, 100 pounds per square inch, is if you put a tire gauge on the tire and have it pumped up. Now, just on that note, if the tire is low pressure, and you see this on trailers a lot, they get dragged around and they got low tire pressure, you'll see a wave in the cords because the cords let go inside the tire, and it's an indicator that the tire needs to be replaced because it's no longer safe and no longer will pass an MVI. If you get pulled into a scale, they're probably going to put you out of service because the tire isn't up to standard. Purposes of a road test, 1.6 millimeters on the rear tires, 3 millimeters on the front, any gouges longer than 2.5 centimeters, and any cuts or abrasions in the top of the tires that expose the cords. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks for watching. You like the channel, subscribe below, hit that like button, and pop over to the website, sign up, get your free weigh scale checklist. If you get pulled into a scale and you're a new driver, you're going to need a checklist of paperwork that you need to bring into the scale house. It can be somewhat extensive. Checklist will help you out, so your visit to the scale house is nothing but a minor inconvenience going down the road. Get that, it's free at my website. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. All the best going up and down the road. Remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.